guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. We made it. YouTube is on my last damn nerve, let me tell you. YouTube is on my last damn nerve. YouTube is gonna learn today. I'm about to take my shoe off, YouTube. I'm gonna count to 3. You do not behave during this stream, you're gonna regret it. Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. So, I just learned that no matter what, I cannot have my live stream open when I start my live stream. Because there's no way to mute it. None. It starts. Then I can mute it. I'm busy when it starts. Yep. I'm not using a flip-flop though. I'm going something more hefty. Not Timberlands. Come on, Docs. I'm gonna pull out a whole Doc Martin on them. So, we are done with the break. I fast forwarded it through the break, so we're ready. Thank God, because it took me like 5 minutes to fast forward it through the break because this software sucks. But anyway, we're going to get to the end today. This is the last day of the Pennsylvania trial, which hurts my heart because I love Pennsylvania. I would love Pennsylvania to... I could text my governor. I have his number to text right now. I text him quite often. If you don't text your governor quite often, guys, please do it. Text your governor. Just send them a text message. It doesn't hurt them. Make sure it's a nice text message, but everybody should have their governor in their phone. Send them a message. Anyway, let's go to Pennsylvania. Here we go.
I should be coming on in a second, Judge.
I'm not going anyplace. Mr. Gibbs, are you ready?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay. I think we can dispense with the swearing of Judge Young. How are you today, Judge Young?
Good morning, Your Honor, and thank you.
Yeah.
Good morning,
Mr. Gibbs.
Court.
Good morning, Judge Young. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I'm not used to being on this side, but
I understand.
But
Judge Young,
I'm okay with being here. Thank you.
In fact, you're here because I issued a subpoena to you, correct? I'm sorry?
You did issue a subpoena.
Judge Young, can you tell the court how you know Judge Lyric Young?
Judge Liz Young is my first cousin. I've known her for her entire life. I'm about 10 years older than her. I used to have a joke where I call her my older cousin, but actually I'm about 10 years older than her. We are each the youngest child of 2 brothers. There were 6 children of Major and Rosa Young. My father was the oldest, and I'm his youngest child. Lyric Young, Judge Lyric Young, is the youngest child of Robert Young, younger brother. We are part of the Great Black Migration. Our family started in Jacksonville, Florida, then went to Chester, Pennsylvania, back to Jacksonville, Florida. My father migrated to Philadelphia with my mother. Lyric's father joined us, and he actually lived with my mother and father until he could get married himself to Lyris's mother. And when Lyris was born, they lived about 3 blocks away from us. So I've known Lyris her whole life. We're a close family.
Your Honor, I'm certain you're aware of the Judicial Conduct Board's findings about Judge Young. Can you discuss and tell the court your knowledge of her as a judge and what you've observed over her time on the bench?
I'm not here to talk about the facts of the case. I don't pretend to know them. Nor am I here as an expert witness to give expert testimony. But I know her character. I know that she is a passionate judge. She's passionate in defense of children, in support of children. She is
I believe
displayed nothing but concern for children. But in fact, we come from a family.
Jude, thank you so much. Thank you.
Family of teachers. My father was a teacher. Her mother was a teacher, trailblazing librarian at William Penn High School. My aunt, Helen Harris, and my mother both worked at the Stenton Child Care Center for years, assisting children whose parents had been incarcerated. Her father was a public servant, started with the Air Force during the Korean conflict, and then from there worked for the Defense Logistic Agency. So our entire family has been about public service. She is a product of the church, as I am. The Youngs were definitely church people of faith, and so concern for children has been a part of our family history forever. I know that her major concern has always been for the betterment of children, for the support of children, and she's passionate about it.
Judge, is there anything else you want the court to know?
I think I said to you when first the judge asked me, could I testify? And I think I told you I would testify if I could get an ethics opinion, and I did, and I'm here. But I think I said to you at that time that this situation brought to my mind an old quote that stuck in my head. Back in 1964, Barry Goldwater, the father of modern conservatism, accepted the Republican nomination for president, and he made a speech that got a lot of attention. The A side of his quote was, "Extremism in defense of liberty is no vice." And public went crazy. The newspapers went crazy because the suggestion was that this guy would do anything. Less well known is the B side of that verse, of that quote, which is, moderation in pursuit of justice is not a virtue. There's a lot of judges that pursue justice moderately. That's not a virtue, but it is safe. And we see what happens when judges pursue justice in a moderate way. That's how we got Cash for Kids in Luzerne County. That's how we got Penn State. Judges that didn't want to rock the boat, didn't want to do anything that was unsafe, didn't want to go out on a limb in any way. One thing I know about my cousin is that she's passionate for children. She's accepted responsibility for the things that she's done that were wrong. But her concern was always for children. And I believe she's learned her lesson. I believe she's grown. And I think in the 3 years since this matter first came to light and before the court, she's accepted that responsibility. And I don't think there's been any other complaints about her behavior in that time. So I think that she is seeing that doing the right thing the wrong way is wrong in of itself. And I think she's grown from that.
Thank you. I have no more questions for Judge Young. I'll offer for cross-examination.
Ms. Flaherty?
No cross, thank you.
Thank you. Do any members of the court have any questions of Judge Young?
Judge Eisenhower, I have a question. Your Honor, I'm wondering if during the time that Judge Young has been a judge, Judge Lyris Young, that is, whether you had occasion to ever visit her courtroom and observe her on the bench?
Your Honor, I did not. She was in the family division. I was in the civil division or criminal. I was a trial judge my entire time on the Court of Common Pleas bench, so I never had the occasion to go and visit her courtroom. I was available generally as a mentor to her, but I did not know that area. Once she was transferred to the civil division, she was downstairs from me, and I saw her a lot more regularly. But I was actually literally surprised that she was in the family division. I thought she should have been sent somewhere else. Like when I was first assigned, I came from the Redevelopment Authority, where I used to be general counsel, and I knew more about eminent domain than any other judge. And Judge Alex Bonavita-Cola put me in criminal because he thought I should grow and learn to be a judge first.
Right.
So I was actually surprised that she was in the family division. I thought she should have been someplace else where she could have learned how to be a judge first. But I never had the opportunity to observe her courtroom, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
Any
Judge,
other members?
I have a question, Judge.
Yes, Judge Bordor.
Judge Young, and this was some of the testimony or in the pleadings of the earlier part of the case, maybe in the emergency. I believe Judge Gantman on Superior Court talked about the transcripts with regard to delay. There was some confusion because there were two Judge Youngs on the bench of Philadelphia. Do you recall ever being contacted about that delay? And as a result of that, did you have any contact with Judge Lyris Young to try and mentor her in that regard?
Good morning, Your Honor. No, I didn't have any contact with her. I will say this: during the years that Judge Young came on the bench, starting in 2015, I was a team leader of Day 4 of 2015. In the Court of Common Pleas in Philadelphia, the team leader has responsibility for every case that's filed in the civil division in that year. Subsequently, I was in charge of 2018. I got so much paper, I didn't know where it was coming from. And occasionally I would get things for cases, and he used to see me, Judge, I would give my law clerk hell. What is this all about? He would look this isn't yours. This is Judge Lyris Young's case. And I go, oh, no wonder we don't know anything about this. Send it back to her. And, but it would sit there for a while because we didn't know where it was coming from. I mean, I literally had thousands of cases coming to me. And there would be cases that were sent that should have gone to her and would come to me. I'm sure she got things that belonged to me. But I never had an opportunity to mentor her about that because, as I said before, I never sat in the family division. So exactly how they handled cases, I didn't know. But I would occasionally remind her that it could be a little tough being a judge. And I found as even having been a judge 20-some years, some of the things that people would say about you, you just have to accept it and let it go.
Other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, Judge McCaffrey.
Judge Young, you are probably one of the most highly respected members of the judiciary during my 30 years as a member of the bar.
Did you tell my wife that?
I will next time I see her. What I'm going to ask you is, it's kind of hard to put in words, but we've heard some rather heart-wrenching testimony from people who have appeared in front of Judge Lyris Young about her conduct in the courtroom, about the effects of her decisions, and her overall demeanor. How do you reconcile the woman that you know with the conduct that's been attributed to her?
Ray, thank you so much.
Good morning, Your Honor. That's a great question. Yes. I can't say that I can. I can say that I know her heart, even though I can't understand or necessarily reconcile that. I do know from our shared family history, she's very passionate about protecting children. She is not corrupt. She hasn't taken bribes. Her sole concern has been how to protect children. I imagine, without going into the details and things of that nature, that her zealousness took her too far. But as I said before, I don't believe in any way that her concern was anything other than how to protect defenseless children. And I think that over the course of time, as I said before, I think she has learned that even trying to do the right thing the wrong way is still wrong. And she has learned from it. And this has been I'm not trying to make her look like a victim, not at all. But I will say this, it's been very difficult. This has been a humbling time for her. She has submitted to your authority. She's thrown herself at your mercy. She has accepted responsibility. She has found herself the subject of threats and all kinds of other things. She's not asked for anything. She's not sought to be seen as a martyr or anything of that nature. But she has learned. I think she has learned. I think she's grown. And I think she has a contribution still to make.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do any other members of the court have any questions of Judge Young? Judge Young, thank you so much for your testimony today.
Your Honor, and good day. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Judge Young, I'm sorry. I think I missed it. What was your first name?
John.
John. Okay, thank you.
John Milton Young.
Yes, thank you.
Judge Schwartzman, if I can have the court's indulgence to get the next witness lined up.
Of course. Who will your next witness be?
Mr. Clarence Tilman.
Okay.
You can have a seat, Mr. Tilman. It was
Pennsylvania has Milton Hershey, so we have a lot of Miltons walking around.
try to put this on a little bit of an angle for you. Okay, you sit down, just slide that chair so it can point to you.
Smith, it's good to see you.
All right, good? Yeah. Can I take my minute? Yes. You see it? Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Are we ready, Mr. Gibbs?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay.
I call it Mr. Clarence Tilman.
Okay. Sir, would you please state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Yes, Clarence Tilman, T-I, 2 L's, M-A-N.
Sir, would you raise your right hand, please? And do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gibbs, you can proceed.
Good morning, Mr. Claremont. How are you employed, sir?
I'm a DHS social worker for the City of Philadelphia.
How long have you been employed as a DHS social worker?
Since 2006.
Have you had the occasion to appear in front of Judge Young?
Many times.
If you had to give an approximation as to the number of times you appeared in front of Judge Young, what would that number be?
Over 100, if not hundreds.
During your over 100, if not hundreds times in front of Judge Young, can you explain to the Court of Judicial Discipline how she conducted herself on the bench?
Judge Young was always cordial. She was always respectful. She was always patient, and she was always diligent.
I imagine you've talked to other DHS social workers.
Yes.
Have you talked to them about Judge Young?
Yes.
Do they share their opinion of Judge Young being diligent, patient, and and the other characteristics that you expressed? Did they share those opinions with you?
Yes.
Was their opinion similar to yours?
Yes.
Hearsay.
Did Judge Young allow for testimony to happen in her court? And
I'm sorry?
did she allow for people to testify and be heard in your court when she was in court?
She allowed everyone to speak.
Okay. I have no more questions for Mr. Tilman, all for cross-examination.
Ms. Flaherty?
Yes, I have just a couple of questions for Mr. Tilman. Good morning, Mr. Tilman.
Good morning.
Have you had an opportunity to see the Court of Judicial Discipline's December 1st, 2020 opinion in Ray Young?
I'm sorry. One more time, please.
Have you had an opportunity to review the opinion by this court in the matter against Judge Young?
No.
Were you familiar with any of the cases that were at issue in the case against Judge Young?
Not to my knowledge, not those cases. I was only familiar with my cases and the cases that we had within our unit and within the section sometimes.
So it's quite possible that the cases raised by the board were not your cases, correct?
Quite possible. To my knowledge, yes. If they were, I wasn't notified. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do any members of the court have any questions?
I do, Judge Schwartzman. Why aren't they playing, because Pennsylvania doesn't record. Why aren't they reading the transcripts of what happened to those three individuals in court? I suspect if we would have watched their hearings, we might have been on the judge's side, because I suspect they did not behave in court. That's just what I suspect. I don't know, but I wish they would give us the transcripts.
Yes, Judge Foradora.
Mr. Tilman, do you know someone who works in your department named Ishmael Jimenez?
We used to be in the same unit a long time ago.
Did you ever discuss any cases of Judge Young's with him?
No, if he had any issues with a case, he'd have went to our supervisor.
Okay. And how about Julia Ressler?
No, I don't know who that person is.
Okay. There, at least from what I heard at the initial hearing, there was some publicity, newspaper and otherwise around Philadelphia regarding some of these cases. And you might have known they involved your office. Did you look into any of it or discuss any of the individual cases for which the board brought charges with anybody in your office?
Thank you, Jude. Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, Your Honor. My case that I had in front of Judge Young were very challenging, very complicated and complex, and very, actually, a couple were very in the public view. So I didn't really have any chance to worry about anybody else's cases. I was trying to figure out how to work my cases.
Were you ever in the courtroom with her where she held an attorney or any other party in contempt?
Trying to think. I mean, a lot of times we just waited. Like a lot of times we had to wait for certain attorneys for a very, very long time while we just sat in the courtroom. And even when they came in and maybe everyone was a little bit perturbed. She was cordial and just they gave their reason and we went on.
And that was what I wanted to ask you. Those times where things like that happened, from your observation, she was still professional and executed appropriate demeanor.
Yes.
Okay. No other question.
Right. Mr. Tilman, I have a couple of questions for you. Following up on what Judge Forador asked you. Prior to the board, the JCB filing its complaint matter, there was a series of articles that appeared in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Were you aware of those articles? Some of them were front page. Some of them were front page.
Yeah.
Another Smith, we're going to buy a food truck and open it in Florida. Me, Tina P said she's not going to work. But Monica's going to work with me, even though I think she said she's not going to work. But I can talk her into it. It's going to be fun. And then maybe drive up to Tennessee with our food truck. We're all gonna buy a food truck, and then we're gonna buy a little house by the beach for Vibers to just go to. I don't know when this is gonna happen. Maybe someday. Florida.
We heard rumors. I didn't read them. I didn't look into it. I didn't go into it because I have my professional opinion based on my work in her courtroom, in Judge Young's courtroom, and that's all I needed to go by.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any other members of the court have any questions?
I have no questions.
Thank you, Mr. Tilman.
No problem.
Mr. Gibbs?
Your Honor, my next witness will be Dr. Dash. If I can again ask for the court's indulgence while I get it set up.
Of course.
Thank you.
Dr. Dash? If his first name starts with a D, I'm sure he's part of Marvel. Well, doctor. Maybe he's not a doctor at all, but his name is Doctor. I should have named one of my kids Doctor. Son of a bitch. Tell your grandchildren to name their kids Doctor. Debbie, it is a lot of judges. It's kind of scary. There's Dr. Dash. The evil Dr. Dash.
Are we ready to proceed, Mr. Gibbs?
I am, Your Honor. Thank you.
Oh, okay, could the witness please raise your right hand? Would you please tell us your name and spell your last name for the record?
Sholana Dash, D-A-S-H.
Maybe you better spell your first name also.
Okay, yeah. Sholana, S-H-I-R-L-A-N-A.
You raise your right hand, please. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. Gibbs, please.
Good afternoon. Good morning, Ms. Dash. How are you today?
Fine, and you?
In fact, I should call you Dr. Dash, correct?
Yes, thank you.
How are you employed, Dr. Dash?
I am currently a court representative with the City of Philadelphia, the Department of Human Services.
Can you tell the court what a court representative is?
A court representative is a social worker by trade that's in the courtroom on a daily basis, working in dependency court to work with the judges to provide help or information to the social worker and or solicitors regarding possible services that are available to families that are in need or anything that arises in the courtroom in relation to policy and procedure at DHS.
Dr. Dash, in your role as at DHS, have you ever been in Judge Lyris Young's courtroom?
Yes, I have.
Can you tell the court how many times you've been in front of Judge Young?
I was in judge courtrooms 3 to 4 times a month. And when we were assigned to her, when I was assigned to a courtroom, I was in court with her from 9 a.m. to 5 or 6 or 6:30 p.m. whenever the cases ended.
Can you describe for the court your observations of Judge Young's demeanor those 3 to 4 times a month for the entire day?
Judge Young was always professional. She was respectful. She was compassionate. She was fair. She was reasonable and stern if she needed to be.
But okay, guys, that sounds like a judge we want to watch, doesn't it? Isn't that someone? I don't know.
Have you had the chance to discuss with other court representatives Judge Young and her demeanor in the courtroom?
Yes, on occasion, yes.
Do they share your opinion about Judge Young's demeanor of being fair, compassionate, thorough?
Yes, by all means, yes.
If you had to give an approximation of how many cases you've observed Judge Young conduct, what would that number be?
A few hundred.
Thank you.
I served in the court. Oh, sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I served as a court rep from 2016, 17 until present. So literally we had about at least 15 cases a day. So on a monthly basis, I heard at least 60. I was set before her with at least 60 cases a month. So I've heard a few hundred cases that she's presided over.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no more questions for this witness, and I will offer for cross-examination.
Thank you. Ms. Flaherty?
Yes, I just have a couple of questions. Good afternoon, Dr. Dash.
Good afternoon.
Are you familiar with this court's opinion in the case against Judge Young?
I've not read it directly, no, but I've read something. I remember hearing something at DHS, and there was an article in the Tribune or some local paper I skimmed.
Are you familiar with the... I didn't mean to interrupt your answer.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with reading anything directly from the courts, no.
Did you ever read a copy of the Judicial Conduct Board's complaint against Judge Young?
No, I did not.
Are you familiar with cases where the board charged that she demonstrated an improper demeanor?
A blind move down to Florida? Oh, oof.
No, I am not familiar with these cases directly, no.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do any members of the court have any questions for Dr. Dash?
I would like to ask one. Doctor, in the JCB's packet of exhibits, there's letters from Support Center for Child Advocates and some other social service agencies, which I guess as the court rep for DHS, you're familiar with those agencies, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Several of them are calling and petitioning this court to remove Judge Young from the bench based on her demeanor and prior exhibits. Are you aware of their position on this matter, and how do you equate that with your testimony?
I am only aware in that I've heard that when everything transpired, not directly having conversations with anyone. At times in the courtroom, there are times when clients and or attorneys have had outbursts. And I have witnessed the judge reminding them to be respectful of the bench. So I can imagine that no one likes to be corrected. Other than that, I would have no direct knowledge of any reason why any other complaints were lodged.
Any other members of the court have any questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question.
Yes.
Good morning, Dr. Dash. How are you?
Fine, and you? I'm sorry, I just try to look to see who's speaking at.
Come up here, see me now?
Fine. I see you now. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Good morning. I wanted to follow up on what the Judge Baranowski just asked you. You said you were in Judge Liris's courtroom on a daily basis?
No. So each day, a different rep is assigned to a different judge. So I was in her courtroom approximately once a month. Once a week.
Once a week.
Once a week. I was in court every day, but with a different judge. But I was before her once a week.
So it's fair to say you're fairly familiar with her courtroom demeanor, her courtroom behavior.
Very much, Your Honor.
Can you think of any instances in your experience with Judge Young where she has held an attorney in contempt of court or ordered somebody incarcerated?
I have in an instance where I've seen parents yelling. One instance, I saw a parent, literally a child, actually a late teen, pick up a chair and go to throw it. So I've seen parents sometimes have outbursts when Your Honor would ask them to please sit down. They would not comply. She's asked them to please wait until it's their turn to testify. They would not comply. So in that aspect, yes, I have seen that happen. And after repeated attempts for her asking or requesting them to respect the bar of the court and it not being followed, then yes.
Your birthday was on the Sunday stream, the special Sunday stream we had, right?
I've seen that happen.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to follow up on. I mean, when we're talking about DHS matters, we're talking about some fairly emotional, with raw emotions in the courtroom.
Yes.
You've never witnessed an instance where Judge Young has, for lack of a better expression, out of the box, become confrontational with an attorney or a participant, have you?
No, I've not.
So is it fair to say that based upon your testimony, it's experiences where she's reacting to an outburst in her courtroom or non-compliance with a court order or one of her requests that's caused her to become a little less... Go ahead.
In response to parents or attorneys, I've not been witness with an attorney. With parents, I've seen parents become aggressive, become volatile, become overly combative. I've witnessed Judge Young asking them to respect the bar of the court. And after repeatedly asking them, if they did not comply, I have seen her hold people in contempt after giving them multiple warnings. I've seen hearings being interrupted by parents being disruptive. And I have, in fact, seen in response to that, after repeated attempts to allow parents to either get themselves together or to calm down, I have seen her hold people in contempt, yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to follow
Judge-
up to what Judge McCafferty just asked you.
Yeah.
With regard to attorneys, did you ever see her be that way?
No,
For
I have
instance,
not.
if they were late or out of time.
No, Your Honor, I have seen her, if attorneys have come in late, ask probably what the reasoning was, but I've never seen her hold attorneys in contempt or disrupt the hearing behind that, no.
Have you ever been there when she told a caseworker or someone from DHS, don't ever come here again, don't darken my door, I wouldn't believe you if you said anything or anything to that character? Looks like we lost her.
Yeah. It's a tough question you asked, Judge Forador.
We'll take that as a no, John.
No, you paused, and then all she heard was, don't ever darken my door.
I shut down the machine.
Yeah, can I have a brief indulgence just to work on whatever the tech issue is there?
Of course.
Hey, I'm covering up the annoying lawyer. Yes. Yes. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Come on, Judge. Oh, that's a pretty cup. I like that cup. So Judge Young isn't that far from me. Philadelphia is right over there. I feel like going to watch her docket now. She's not in family court anymore, obviously, after this. They took her out of family court. I don't know what she does now. Let's look while we're waiting. Up. Oh, man. Okay, this doesn't allow me to fast forward very prettily.
Public policy, public management leadership.
So you have a PhD in public policy, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Other questions? Thank you.
Okay. I have a couple of questions for you, please. I think you said that you earlier, in response to a question, that you have not seen or read the Judicial Conduct Board's complaint in this matter. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you ever read the opinion issued by this court in this matter in December of last year?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. There was a time prior to the Judicial Conduct Board filing its complaint that there were a series of articles that appeared in the Philadelphia Inquirer. Some of them, if my recollection is correct, were front page with regard to Judge Young. Were you aware of those articles?
Yes, I remember seeing one of them, Your Honor.
Did you read the articles?
I skimmed through it. I only skimmed through the one. I didn't read it thoroughly.
They dealt with the family court and the issues that you deal with on a daily basis. Didn't they raise some questions in your mind?
Yes and no, because every day, well, often we would see people standing outside protesting regarding not just Judge Young, but the judges, period, and DHS removing their children from their homes. So someone who's been in child protective services for over 21 years as a social worker and working as a court representative, I've sat in the courtroom and seen many parents complain after children were removed for issues that were surrounding familial issues and possibly parental behaviors. So I just kind of read through it because I personally knew Judge Young and I've sat in front of her many times and never saw her being unreasonable, unfair, or outrageous. So no, I didn't feel the need to read it all. No.
Okay. After that article or series of articles appeared, did it cause discussion among you and your colleagues at DHS?
Yes, sometimes. Briefly, yes.
Did it raise any questions, or did it cause anybody to inquire further with regard to the allegations in those articles?
No, because many of us has worked with Judge Young also while she was a solicitor. We always found her to be fair and compassionate. So we thought it was strange. I've never personally witnessed and discussed with my coworkers any behaviors from Judge Young that we've not seen from other judges on the bench. So no.
Okay, thank you. I don't have
guys.
anything
I
further.
believe
Any
it.
other judge have a question? Yes, Judge Eisenhower.
Thank you, Judge Schwartzman. Dr. Dash, were you ever aware during the time that you spent with Judge Young, I think you said usually when you were assigned to that room, it would probably be the entire day. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor, it was the entire day.
And it could be a couple times a month. Is that right?
Yes, it was about once a week. Yes, Your Honor.
Did you ever observe or hear anything about Judge Young having a difficulty keeping up with her judicial work, particularly drafting and issuing of opinions?
No, Your Honor, I never heard anything of that nature.
All right. During the time that you spent in her courtroom, would you have occasion to deal with the judge's staff?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Did you notice any unusual amount of turnover, particularly with regard to law clerks working with Judge Young?
No, we didn't have many interaction with the law clerks. We more so worked with the crier as well as a CBH mental health technician. And no, so the law clerks were in the courtroom, but not frequently. A lot of what they appeared to do was behind the scenes, so they weren't in the courtroom with us often.
Okay. So they wouldn't be people you'd be dealing with necessarily?
No, we wouldn't be dealing with them on a daily basis. It was her set staff of usually her personal assistant, the CBH rep for the proceedings.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dash.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other members of the court have any questions? Dr. Dash, thank you so much for your testimony.
Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Your Honor, my next witness will be Mr. Craig Sophen, Esquire. May I set up the room for him?
Yes. Is he calling in, or is he going to be?
He's here. He's in my room next door.
Oh,
Yes.
great. Okay.
I didn't get it. Could you again?
So, like, all we heard as.
I'm ready, Your Honor. Thank you.
No, you shut up. I don't want to hear you. All we heard for this hearing about judicial misconduct is from parents who lost? Like, three parents, grandparents, who lost custody for a while? I mean, yeah, they're important testimony, but any judge, every single judge up there has three people that will get up on the stand and call them jerks and unprofessional, and I mean, it sort of comes with the territory of being a judge, is you're going to have people who lost their case really, really, really mad at you. I'm confused all of a sudden about what's going on here. Why there isn't like real testimony, like real transcripts, like really this is really what, because they're just listening to what these three people said happened.
I'm looking for Mr. Sophen.
He's going to show up under Mr. McMonocle's name. There he is.
There I am. Okay.
Sir, would you please tell us your name and spell first and last name?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honors. My name is Craig Sophen, S-O-P-I-N.
Would you raise your right hand, please? And do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Gibbs?
Good morning. Good afternoon, Mr. Sophen. How are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm well, thank you.
Can you tell the court how you're employed?
I'm an attorney in private practice in Philadelphia.
What kind of practice do you do, Mr. Sophen?
I venture out on some other things, but I essentially concentrate my practice in traffic law, eminent domain, and some criminal defense matters, which primarily involve traffic issues.
Okay. Even further than that, if we're going to have a zealous judge, don't we want them in family court? Isn't that the place where we want them the most important place for this judge to be? Family court. Those children. Every case I play, it's the same thing in chat. Oh, those poor children. Oh, I feel so bad for those children. Oh, it's so sad for the children. This judge, over the top, wanted to protect those children. So, yeah, okay. I don't know. Guys, I'm like completely flipping my whole decision today.
Have you appeared in front of Judge Young while she was sitting in the family division?
No.
Have you appeared in front of Judge Young while she has been sitting in the civil division?
Yes, many times.
Can you estimate for the court how many times you've appeared in front of Judge Young?
I will try. If I consider the number of times I appeared before her in cases, some of which involve multiple appearances on the same cases, conferences, motion practice, sidebars, etc., I would estimate that I appeared before Judge Young on hundreds of cases.
I understand that in civil court, you may be there while other people are doing their cases before you have a chance to go in front of the court. Is that correct?
That is true. There were 2 days a week that I could appear before Judge Young, and often I did do that. In addition to my case, there would be perhaps 20 or 30 other cases on the list.
So is it fair to say that you have had the opportunity to observe Judge Young and her demeanor on the bench?
It would be very fair to say that.
Can you describe for the court your opinion of Judge Young's demeanor on the bench?
I would say that Judge Young has always been professional and respectful, fair-minded, even-tempered, and perhaps the best way I can answer your question is to explain that I have many clients who've gone to court for the very first time, and they've been very apprehensive about the process. And in Judge Young's case, I'm able to set their minds at ease by telling them to disregard any of the stereotypical judges you may see on television or in reality shows, and just know that the judge that they're about to appear before is very fair, very respectful, and even tempered. And I think that that always makes them feel a lot better. Also, I can say in those hundreds of times that I appeared before Judge Young, I have never seen her lose her temper. I've never seen her yell at a party or an attorney. I have never seen her express any dismay over anyone. She's always given everyone an opportunity. And I wish I can say that about all the judges. I don't recall discussing her temperament before I heard about these charges, but I did have an opportunity to discuss the charges that were levied against Judge Young with at least one other attorney I recall.
And can you tell us whether that attorney shared your opinion?
I can tell you that based on my conversations with that attorney, it was my understanding that he was directly in line with my opinion and that we were both bewildered over hearing these charges. It was not the Judge Young, certainly, that I know.
Thank you. I have no more questions for this witness, Your Honor. I'll offer for cross-examination.
Ms. Flaherty?
Yes, I have no cross for this witness. Thank you.
Okay. Any members of the court have any questions of this witness? I have one. The other attorney who you discussed Judge Young's demeanor with, could you tell us who that was?
It is James Daly. He is counsel for Pennsylvania Department of Transportation.
And so these discussions would have revolved around her handling traffic matters as opposed to family court matters?
Well, I wouldn't call them traffic matters per se. She would handle driver license suspension matters, chemical test refusal matters, and also the suspensions or disqualifications of inspection stations and things of that nature.
Traffic.
But it would not involve family court matters?
Only to the extent of what we read. And I can tell you that after speaking with him, we both agreed that if these allegations from family court were accurate, then she obviously made a 360-degree turn and self-corrected, as if someone who had been smoking for years suddenly stopped cold turkey when they learned that what they were doing was wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Sophen.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any other questions from members of the court? Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Gibbs?
Your Honor.
It's like, this is like the OJ trial. I watched the OJ trial expecting expert lawyers, to see expert lawyers. They were the dream team. I thought I was going to see professionalism at its finest. I was expecting facts and law during this hearing because there are 8 judges sitting right there. 8 judges. I was not expecting hearsay. I was not expecting testimony with no proof. Nothing. I was not expecting this to be so bad for this judge. Poor Judge Young. Now, I'm feeling super bad for Judge Young because I don't know what happened. Yesterday, I thought she overstepped her bounds. Today, I think she didn't go far enough because of this trial, this hearing.
At this time, I would call Ms. Kendall Roseboro. After this witness, Your Honor, I am going to ask for a brief break for 5 minutes so I can set up for my final witness.
That would be fine.
Thank you. Ms. Roseboro, you can take your mask down in that office.
Okay. Would you please tell us your name and spell your last name?
Yes, my name is Kendall Roseboro. My last name is spelled R-O-S-E, B as in boy, O-R-O.
Thank you. Would you please raise your right hand? And do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs.
Ms. Roseboro, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I understand you know Judge Young or may have met her once or twice. How do you know Judge Young?
Yes, Judge Young is my mother.
What do you want the court to know about Judge Young?
I prepared a statement just to kind of give my perspective and just give my side as to who my mother is. I'm sorry.
Just take your time.
I just thinking if I was a judge and my daughter got on the stand for me, the first thing I would say is, "Oh shit, oh no." How many of you would trust your children in this situation? You are a judge. You are in on a panel in front of judges. And you know what's going to save you? The words that come out of your children's mouth. Oh God, I want to fast forward this. I don't want to see this nightmare. I already know what Anthony would say. He would put me in jail.
Okay, I want to start this off by saying I love my mom. My mother is the funniest, most generous, kind, loving, and passionate person that I know.
I'm not your mother.
She has sacrificed so much for others and myself, and without her, I would not be where I am today. I am my parents' only child, born 2.5 months early, weighing just under 2 pounds. My mother stepped away from her job practicing law at a private firm in order to stay at home and take care of me for almost 2 years. My mom did her best to ensure that I had the best, especially in terms of education. She made sure that I was placed in the mentally gifted program in 3rd grade, that I attended Special Admit Julia Reynolds Masterman Middle School and Magnet School Central High School. She supported my passions, paying for piano lessons, swim lessons, and she came to every one of my volleyball games during the season. I remember in the 7th grade when, for a prompt for English class, I had to answer the question, what would someone you love become if others had listened to her dreams or their dreams? Without thinking, I drew a picture of my mom in a judicial robe way before she even decided to run for the bench. When she decided to run, I remember passing out her flyers in school to everyone I saw. I was deeply proud of my mom, and I still am to this day. When my mom finally became a judge, she knew from day one she wanted to preside over family court. Having worked as a city solicitor for the Department of Human Services, she was used to working closely with children and treated them like her own. As a judge, she would give the children a voice. She would also keep out a bowl of candy, and I know that the kids loved that just as much as I did. Although my mom loved working in family court, and doing Although my mom loved working in family court and doing what she thought was best in the interest of the child, I saw how at times it took a toll on her. Every day, she would shuffle case files home in order to prepare for court the next day. Treating it like homework, she wouldn't go to bed until she read all the files, and sometimes fell asleep with files in her bed. Since the beginning of her time as judge, I can remember the many times my mother was threatened by others who didn't agree with her rulings. On several occasions, police details had to follow my mom around and stay outside of our house because the perpetrator threatened her and myself, knowing the address of our home and my high school. A police officer even followed my mom and I on my college campus as I moved to a different dorm room because we had received yet another threat. But this was part of the territory once she became a judge. Those times scared me, and sometimes I feared for my mother's safety. However, she never wavered. She continued showing up to work and putting other people's safety ahead of her own. That's how much she loved family court and the chance to make a positive impact in the lives of children that looked like me. My mom would oftentimes put herself on the back burner for her job, probably more times than she should have. In the fall of 2016, my mom had an unexpected major medical surgery, a hysterectomy, and was out on medical leave for some time. Although her physician recommended that my mom be on an extended medical leave, my mom only took 60 days off and then went back to work. She was determined to get back to work, worried that her caseload would continue to pile up in her absence. She truly puts her work before herself, even her health. A few months later, in the summer of 2017, before my senior year of high school, my mom made the painful decision to separate, although that can be a difficult decision for anyone. The Monday after she moved out of the house, she went to work. After the separation, I moved in with my mom. The duties that would have been split between two parents were now all on her shoulders, such as finances, transportation, to and from school, etc. But she took it all in stride because her main concern was making sure that I was okay. I remember when the first few newspaper articles about my mom came out, and I didn't recognize the woman they depicted my mom to be. They painted her out to be angry and aggressive, and she is anything but. My mother is kind and patient. She does what she thinks is right for those that come before her in court. I was so frustrated by the way she was being mischaracterized. There are a few occasions where my peers found some articles about my mom and asked me if everything was all right. I couldn't say anything but the fact that the articles were not telling the truth.
Well, she did send a grandmother to jail because her daughter wouldn't produce the granddaughter, so that's not good. But CJ, do you remember Judge Boyd's they had a hearing about Judge Boyd and her misconduct, and Judge Boyd wasn't invited to that hearing, right? She wasn't allowed in there. So maybe judges aren't allowed in the room when people are talking about them.
In all, if it weren't for my mom, I wouldn't be where I am today. I am a current junior at the University of Pennsylvania.
But Judge Boyd is a badass and came in the room anyway. You go, Judge Boyd.
Majoring in public health, minoring in Spanish, and also a submatricular student into the Paramount School of Medicine's Master's Public Health program. My mom is the main financier of my college education, and she has really encouraged me throughout the pandemic to continue to do my best in and outside of school. Outside of the classroom, I work as a research assistant for a health equity focused lab at Penn. I also work with the Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium here in Philadelphia, providing barrier-free testing and vaccination for low-income and underserved communities. Since January 2021, we have vaccinated close to 50,000 people. My mom has instilled in me a passion to help others in a way that I can. She's my role model, my hero, and I love her. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Roseboro. Your Honor, I have no further questions for Ms. Roseboro. I would offer for cross-examination.
Ms. Flaherty?
Am I on, Your Honor? I have no questions, Your Honor.
Do any members of the court have any questions for this witness?
I need you to repeat one thing. What was the date of separation?
It was July 2017.
And the hysterectomy was sometime in 16, you said?
Yes, about like the fall or winter of 2016.
Thank you.
Any other questions from members of the court?
What is that judge thinking?
Thank you, Ms. Roseboro.
Good luck in school, man.
We'll take a recess for 10 minutes so I can set up for my final witness.
hold on. Let's just, how about if we say we come back at 12:45? It's 12:31 right now.
Very well. Thank you, Your Honor.
12:45?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
This program doesn't let me fast forward very easily. See, I can get to 2 hours and 37 minutes and then 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's it. 2 hours and 41 minutes it is. We're starting here.
So, Judge Young, would you please state your name for the record?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Lyris Young.
Oh, there she is.
Would you please raise your right hand? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
She's right in the center,
Thank
guys.
you. Mr. Gibbs?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Your Honor, this is your chance for the prosecution. What, if anything, would you like the Court of Judicial Discipline to know?
Good afternoon, judges of the Court of Discipline, Ms. Flaherty, and representatives of the Judicial Conduct Board. I appear before you today after waiving my right to a trial because I clearly made wrong decisions, and I want to take full responsibility for my actions. I know that those decisions and actions hurt people that appeared before me, and for that, I am truly sorry. It has been 3 years since I presided as a juvenile dependency judge in family court. Throughout my disciplinary proceedings, the Judicial Conduct Board and news media have highlighted incidents of my behavior. I realized I was wholly inappropriate. This was very unbecoming of a judge, and I absolutely regret my actions. However, I am grateful for this opportunity to
You have the right to remain silent. Who the hell gave you advice to say these words right now? I was rooting for you, and you shot my whole case down. Even though I already know the outcome, I was still rooting for her.
finally address you so I can provide further insight on me as a person and the actions I displayed in court. Being a native Philadelphian and a product of the public schools, I have had the opportunity to be exposed to people of various nationalities, religions, and socioeconomic backgrounds. Prior to being elected to the bench, for 24 years, I served as an attorney in the very community where I grew up, and that has been my privilege. And while I have worked in various areas of the law as a public servant and in private practice, no area of the law meant more to me than my work in family courts. Many years ago, I made the commitment and decision that focusing on children and their families was the area of law where my skills would best serve the community. Child welfare allowed me to practice in the area of the law that addressed the societal concerns of the most vulnerable population in Philadelphia. I have spent the better portion of my legal career making lives better for children. And it was that unwavering commitment and dedication to children that I carried with me to the bench in January 2016. In the 2.5 years in family court, I presided over 6,000 hearings in which my focus was always to operate in the best interests of children. Family court cases are extremely challenging. They involve children who were oftentimes subjected to safety concerns that place their well-being at risk. The goal is to address those concerns through compassion and services that will be beneficial to the children and their families. Despite my best intentions, I now understand that I made mistakes that resulted in people being hurt, and I regret it, and I am truly sorry. Time and space have provided me with perspective as to my time in family court. My time in family court coincided with some challenges in my personal life. I had to have an unexpected major surgery that coincided with separating from my spouse of 20 years. And enduring both these life-altering circumstances at the same time proved to be difficult. Undoubtedly, those two events impacted me as I continued to work every day. I should have taken time off after my medical procedure and at the time of my separation, and yet I went to work the next day. In hindsight, it was foolish not to take some time to make sure that I was emotionally prepared to resume my work on the bench. I did not realize it then, but I do realize that now. To be clear, I do not offer this information as an excuse, but only as an explanation of what I was grappling with at the time. In the last 3 years, I have developed a strong support system by surrounding myself with mentors who freely give advice and guidance. I have fully engaged in judicial trainings and have utilized resources to improve my monitoring of my appeals. I have taken advantage of individual therapy. And while I was confronted with many challenges as a new judge in January 2016, today I would have handled things much differently if given the chance. I have grown as a jurist and have instituted measures that place me in a far better position to handle my judicial responsibilities on and off the bench. As a result, there have been no issues or concerns since being assigned to the Civil Trial Division in July 2018. Finally, I am a woman of faith, and it is faith that shapes and informs and governs who I am. And I carry that with me on the bench. I always have, and I always will. And it is through my faith that I will work hard to embody the attributes to prove worthy of this judicial position demonstrated by my rulings and my interactions with those in my courtroom. It is also my faith that requires me to be accountable when I have done wrong and when I have hurt others. And in this matter, there are no exceptions. I was wrong. And the fact that the harm I have caused. And I pray that you can see beyond my past mistakes and afford me an opportunity to be of service in the judiciary to my full potential. So again, I would like to thank you for your time and consideration given to this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Do you have anything further with this witness, Mr. Gibbs?
I do not, Your Honor.
Ms. Flaherty, do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Do any members of the court have any questions of Judge Young?
I do, Judge Schwartzman.
Yes, Judge Eisenhower.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon.
Judge, could you describe what your current duties are? You're currently assigned to the Civil Division, is that correct?
Yes, I'm in the Civil Trial Division, and my duties are arbitration appeals. Also, because this is a fairly new assignment, and we're just coming out of, just getting adjusted to COVID procedures. I have been doing ejectment cases. I have also been doing contract matters. So we're still trying to kind of get our sea legs under us as to, what's going on the civil side. But for the time being, since January, that has been my assignment.
Well, you were, correct me if I'm wrong, Your Honor, were you transferred to the Civil Division in July of 2018?
Yes.
So at that first assignment, when you first were transferred, what were your duties then?
I presided over statutory appeals.
Okay. And how long did that last?
Up until December 2020.
And is that when you went into the arbitration appeals?
Yes.
You say that, I think you said that since this transfer in the summer of 2018, you haven't had any complaints or anything about your judicial conduct. Am I remembering that correctly, that you said that?
Yes.
Wasn't there an issue involving a apartment building and your order to evict virtually everyone who lived in that building? Controversy about that, and eventually you reversed yourself. Am I remembering that correctly?
Not quite, Your Honor. There was a matter that came before me because I presided over cases involving licenses and inspections. The case was the city of Philadelphia versus a prominent developer in the city of Philadelphia. And in this particular building, he converted a warehouse without getting any permits from L&I to do the work. There were not the appropriate fire fittings, sprinkler systems. There's not appropriate ingress and egress. And as a result, he placed tenants in that building. L&I deemed it to be highly unsafe, and the tenants entered that building not knowing the grave safety concerns while living in there. So the matter that was initially before me was the city of Philadelphia requesting that that building be closed because it was deemed unsafe. What I did in turn, when I realized that there were indeed tenants there, I scheduled a separate hearing so that I could explain to the tenants the safety concerns of L&I. I made arrangements that that developer would repay the tenants their first, last month's and security deposit and additional monies so that they may find appropriate housing. And I gave the tenants time, I believe it was at least 30 days to make arrangements to move out so that the building could be shuttered until it met the code requirements. So it was highlighted in the paper, but it wasn't because of something that I did wrong or inappropriately. They were just reporting on the progress of the initial case that came before me.
Thank you, Judge. Just something further. I assume that you've reviewed the pleadings in this case, including the filing last week that included a number of letters from members of the bar in the city of Philadelphia regarding your conduct. Did you have a chance to review those?
I did.
And would you agree that these are very prominent members of the Philadelphia bar?
They are.
And they almost, virtually all of them, is my recollection, said that you should be removed from the bench. What is your reaction to that?
Again, let me just say that I apologize wholeheartedly for my behavior. I know that my actions were inappropriate, and I am not making any justifications or excuses for that. The particular letters that you are referencing, I did read. Some of those.
We're having a technical problem, I think.
I never have audio technical issues. Never. It's very unprofessional, judges. Very. I'm very disappointed. 3 stars.
At least I am.
I apologize. I think we had 2 computers in the same room for a moment. I apologize for that, Judge Eisenhower.
Judge Young, do you want to? I think you were addressing those letters.
And I think I'm done in terms of my statement about the letters.
All right. That's all I have. Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you.
Do any other members of the court have any questions of Judge Young?
I just have one.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Judge Young. How are you?
Good afternoon, Judge McCaffrey.
Judge Young, as you indicated earlier, you were transferred in the summer of 2018 to civil?
Yes, sir.
And by all accounts, since you've been transferred to civil, you've been doing an excellent job. I just wanted to know whether or not your distance from family court has caused you to kind of reflect on and maybe offer us some kind of insight into your own mind into what you believe caused these particular problems and these particular issues while you were at family court. I know you were a longtime DHS attorney and by all accounts, an excellent and zealous advocate. Do you think that your initial assignment to family court may have
tremendously? And Judge McCaffrey, I would agree with your assessment. In hindsight, it would have been best if I was assigned to another area of the court. To make the transition from being a deputy city solicitor to being on the bench, it's nothing that happens immediately. And I was quickly impressed into service. And I think that part of the challenges that I incurred was because I was having the problem from making the transition from being a city solicitor where I advocated for families and children and then presiding over cases. So I would agree with your assessment.
Okay, thank you.
Do any other members of the court have any questions? Yes, Judge Fordor.
I have one just on the reassignment. Is statutory appeals separate from the civil division, or is that part of the civil division?
It is a part of the civil division. It's under the motions practice of the civil division.
And so you were in there until December. Now you've been transferred inside the civil division to the arbitration appeals?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay. Now, yes. The case that Judge Eisenhower referred to, would that have been in the statutory appeals division? The apartment building?
Yes.
Okay. When did that occur, if you recall, roughly?
It was over a year and a half ago. I want to say that it was in the fall of 2019, I believe.
Okay. One question. I'll meet you on your faith and say, as a person of faith, yes. Only you and God truly know whether you're sorry. Incomplete. We will all deliberate later as to the effect of your words. But taking you at your word, and you've got a wonderful daughter and family supporting you there. We have to decide what we should do to affect justice and
I don't know why, but I love this judge. I really love this judge.
make things right. And two attorneys have asked, which is a first in my 4 years on the board, sent letters and said she should be removed. You get to judge people as a judge. Judge yourself. What do you think we should do, if anything?
That's a very good question, Judge Roseboro. I did read those letters, and I am not here to minimize the gravity of the concerns that have been brought before this court. But I do believe that people should be given a second chance. Part of being in family court is the hopes that you can rehabilitate children and families so that reunification could be possible. And in as much as I was a new judge, I believe that I could, I believe that since that time, I have been able to make a very good transition. And
why don't we lock her up until the daughter produces the baby? That would be a good idea.
With the help of services and the support of my mentors, I would just appreciate another chance to be able, or the ability to continue to serve. I'm sorry, I'm really nervous.
It's okay. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, that would be all.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any other members of the court have any questions?
Yes, I have one. Judge Young, in describing your situation in the last few years since you moved to family court, you said you've taken some extrajudicial training. I wanted to know whether that was self-motivated or whether that was prescribed to you. And also, you said you had a strong support system now with mentors of other judges to help you. How is that different now than when you were in family court?
All right. So yes, I do have mentors now that have been very instrumental in terms of my day-to-day work. When I got to civil court, the supervising judge was Judge Heidi Fox. She is now the president judge of the Court of Philadelphia. She has been tremendous. She has an open door policy. I talk to her frequently, but part of my support is also behind me. I know that you may not be able to see it, but many of the persons behind me are judges here in court in Philadelphia. And I have mentors outside of work that guide me. And so I feel that has been a blessing. Also, I have been able to engage in judicial training. Of course, we're required to do it to meet our continuing judicial education requirements, but I don't limit myself to just the prescribed 13 credit hours. So when I see things of interest in terms of, that's going to help me in terms of my day-to-day work in civil, I do take advantage of it, whether I have a credit, get credit for it or not. And I think the other thing that has helped me tremendously is that I do engage in individual therapy. I have been in therapy for close to 2 years now, and it has helped me to manage, day-to-day stressors that I might encounter. So I have taken steps to ensure that the issues and concerns that existed while I was family court, that I would have mechanisms that would allow me to address any issues that may arise in a more productive way.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Any other members of the court have any questions of Judge Young? Thank you so much for your testimony, Judge.
Your Honor, we have no other witnesses as it relates to the sanctions case. Our case in chief is closed. We have argument, and my colleague, Mr. McMonagle, will bring the argument.
Hey, Ms. Flaherty, are you good with that? Are you prepared to argue at this point?
Ms. Flaherty, you're muted.
You're on mute. Beth, you're on mute.
Yes, if you'll just give me a moment for minor furniture switches, I'll be right back with you.
Okay. Ms. Flaherty, are you ready? Oh, Mr. Gibbs is not back yet.
Beth, are you okay like that? You're up at the left.
If you can come over this way more with the camera. Can you?
Mm.
Yes, point the camera directly at the bright window. Good idea.
Is it moving?
File contempt against her. She annoys me. So does Mr. Gibbs, though. Well, not Gibbs. Gibbs doesn't annoy me.
It's not going.
But Gibbs annoys me.
Mr. McMonagle, are we waiting for Mr. Gibbs also, or I don't see him up there?
Nah, we don't have to wait for him. Let's go.
Judge, I'm in another room, but I'll find out in a second.
Oh, we just lost another judge. Can't everybody just sit out?
Your Honor, I'm back. I didn't think Ms. Flaherty's furniture change would be that fast.
Okay.
I think that looks good.
That's good.
All right, Ms. Flaherty, you're up.
Thank you. Mr. McMonagle's argument, if I may.
Can you give us an estimate of how long your argument is going to be?
About 20 minutes.
Okay.
Your Honors, the underlying purpose of disciplinary sanctions as set forth by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court is to protect the public, maintain the integrity of the legal system, repair the damaged public trust, and provide guidance to other members of the judiciary. Throughout her tenure as judge in family court, Judge Young failed to uphold her duties as a judge. The record is replete with case after case examples where Judge Young's misconduct caused harm to members of the public. You heard firsthand from 3 board witnesses that Judge Young's misconduct damaged the public trust in the impartiality and integrity of the judicial system, particularly that of the Philadelphia Family Court. In this case, based on Judge Young's admissions to the entirety of the board's amended complaint with limited joint stipulations, the board proved by clear and convincing evidence all of the charged misconduct. To determine the appropriate sanction, this court relies on Deming factors, which I will present in part. First, whether the misconduct is an isolated incident or part of a pattern of conduct. The facts demonstrate that Judge Young engaged in an ongoing pattern of egregious misconduct between January 2016 and May 2018 while presiding in Philadelphia Family Court. Second, the nature, extent, and frequency of occurrence of the acts of misconduct. This is the focus of my argument. The nature of the misconduct included frequent incidents of inordinate delay, improper demeanor, denial of impartiality, fairness, and the right to be heard, and an abuse of the contempt power. The acts of misconduct were frequent and occurred in numerous cases as set forth in this court's opinion. First, the pattern of inordinate delay in children's fast-track appeals was unjustifiable. Every single day in a child's disrupted family life can make a difference. In the children's fast-track appeals involving 24 children, Judge Young failed or neglected to perform her duty to timely file her 1925A to 121 days late to 261 days late. Judge Young's conduct in causing the backlog of appellate cases was knowing, unreasonable, and unjustifiable. Moreover, it precluded the Superior Court from considering each of those appeals in an expedited manner. As a result, children and their families were deprived of timely and efficient decision-making that they rightfully expected from the courts to ensure safe and stable environments. Families separated from their children were forced to wait and wait and wait.
It's fine for me. It's perfectly fine. I don't... Everything here looks steady. How many people are glitching? I have the live stream up too, and it's not glitching for me. It's perfectly steady, which doesn't help. So it's fine for some people and not for other people. It's glitching when I talk to, or maybe... Some people are fine and some people are glitching, and I don't know how to fix that. So KS and Chinny went out and came back in. Another Smith is okay now. No, Twitchy, it's fine for some people. So, so that doesn't make sense. I don't know why it did that. I just don't know. I'm good. Okay. I'm not going to turn it off and turn it back on. My words don't go with my lips. That's the truth.
For appellate decisions. By her repetitive delays of filing opinions in children's fast-track appeals, Judge Young failed to perform her judicial and administrative duties competently and diligently, failed to cooperate with the administration of court business, and failed to comply with the law in violation of Rules 1.1, 2.5a and b, and prejudiced the proper administration of justice. Second, improper demeanor. The board proved by clear and convincing evidence that Judge Young repeatedly demonstrated an unacceptable temperament toward those who appeared before her in family court. Within the 8 demeanor cases that are set forth in the opinion, the following adjectives are used to describe her demeanor: impatient, disrespectful, discourteous, undignified, harsh, critical, sarcastic, angry. The list goes on. Loud, yelling, intemperate, derisive, vindictive, hostile, belittling, arrogant, and dismissive. Judge Young also displayed intolerance and sarcasm by her disdainful facial expressions, including rolling her eyes, shaking her head, her tone of voice, body language, and her attitude. Numerous individuals were present in Judge Young's courtroom during the hearings, such as attorneys, social workers, child advocates, parents, and children who observed.
Yo, that's just the kind of judge I want to see every day. That is the kind of judge I want to see.
Observed her intemperate behavior. Unlike the witnesses for Judge Young today, this court had before it the opportunity to review the transcripts and listen to the audio recordings of all the proved instances of improper demeanor. Judge Young's outrageous demeanor toward litigants, attorneys, social workers, and others who appeared before her in family court was totally lacking in courtesy, dignity, and patience, in clear violation of Rule 2.8. Next, between August 2017 and February 2018, Judge Young failed to comply with the law governing contempt in a series of cases, causing irreparable harm to those individuals. For example, on August 3rd, 2017, in the case In the Interest of EO, BO, and AO minors, Judge Young held the father of those children in indirect criminal contempt for violating her order against phone calls to EO and BO. There was no such court order. Judge Young impermissibly ordered father to be incarcerated for 7 days without a legal basis. While that case was pending on appeal in the Superior Court, on November 3rd, 2017, Judge Young held father in contempt for calling AO, even though there was no court order prohibiting that contact. Again, Judge Young impermissibly ordered father to be incarcerated for 14 days without a legal basis. Subsequently, on July 30th, 2018, the Superior Court vacated Judge Young's August 3rd, 2017 contempt order, but it was too late to provide relief from the harm to father of AO, BO, and EO, who had suffered a loss of liberty for a cumulative amount of time of 21 days in jail. You heard from the board's witness this morning, Ms. HR, who also endured confinement without a legal basis in the interest of QR and LR. On December 1st, 2017, Judge Young held her in contempt and sent her to jail until her adult daughter, NR, delivered her infant, NM, to DHS. On appeal, the Superior Court vacated the contempt because there was no basis for the incarceration of a non-custodial grandmother under the Juvenile Act. Again, it was too late to spare HR the trauma of spending the night in jail, not knowing how long she would remain there. As she testified today, HR's faith in the judicial system is destroyed because of Judge Young's outrageous abuse of the contempt power. Judge Young also detained parents without legal basis, such as board witness Ms. CJ in the interest of SJ, BR, and JJ minors. Pursuant to Judge Young's order, Ms. CJ was confined in a holding cell without due process until her mother picked the kids up at school and delivered them to DHS. Judge Young also threatened to incarcerate Ms. CJ for a longer period of time at the city prison if she failed to deliver those children by 4 o'clock. These overly harsh measures were unwarranted, a deprivation of Ms. CJ's liberty interest, and an abuse of the judicial contempt power. As a result, CJ has lost faith and trust in the impartiality of the judiciary. By the abuse of the contempt power, Judge Young failed to comply with the law in violation of Rule 1.1 and prejudiced the proper administration of justice. In multiple dependency and termination of parental rights cases, Judge Young failed to act impartially and fairly. In the interest of NM, a minor, beginning in April 2016, Judge Young repeatedly denied parents' requests for kinship care for their infant daughter, NM, who had suffered 2 unexplained rib fractures. This was in direct violation of the Juvenile Act, which encourages kinship care as frequently as possible.
I totally disagree with her on this one. That infant had broken ribs. Hell yes. Remove that infant. If it was the toddler that did it, what are you going to leave? You're going to leave the toddler to hurt the baby? Because it's not fair? No. I agree with the judge on that one. The baby had broken ribs. The baby was seriously injured. Something had to happen to protect that baby. Something. So, nope. You don't got me on that one, woman.
You heard from Miss J.M., paternal grandmother of NM, who was an approved kinship care provider. Judge Young repeatedly denied kinship care in an effort to get the parents to admit to the abuse. In January 2017, Counsel for Parents appealed the kinship ruling. Judge filed her opinion in that case 181 days late. While that appeal was pending, Judge Young granted a DHS petition to terminate the parental rights. It took over 2 years of painful separation for that family and successful appeals in the Superior Court for NM to be reunified with her parents. Ms. J.M. provided a compelling description of the short and long-term effects of Judge Young's conduct. This glaring example of the denial of impartiality and fairness violates Rule 2.2. That same case involved the denial of the right to be heard. Judge Young would not allow medical testimony from experts to disprove the allegations of abuse, even though she previously had stated that she would permit the introduction of such evidence. Judge Young failed to ensure the right to be heard in other cases. For example, in the interest of ANP, a minor, Judge Young excused the ill mother of ANP from the courtroom, but then would not permit her to re-enter and offer testimony. In the interest of DC, DJM, and DM, the hearing was held at the end of the day. Judge Young was so concerned about the late hour that she showed disdain for those before her and repeatedly interrupted testimony, depriving the attorneys and their clients from fully participating in the proceedings. This deprivation of the right to be heard violates Rule 2.6. All of these examples illustrate the varied nature, the vast extent, and the frequency of Judge Young's acts of misconduct. Returning to the Deming factors, number 3, whether the conduct occurred in or out of the courtroom. All of the conduct occurred in the family courtroom. Next, whether the misconduct occurred in the judge's official capacity or in her private life. It all occurred in her official capacity. Next, length of service. Judge Young assumed the bench on January 4th, 2016. In June 2018, the president judge transferred her to the civil division where she continues to serve. It is not mitigating evidence that Judge Young's misconduct occurred in her first 2.5 years on the bench, to the extent that she had already worked for well over a decade with DHS, and she knew, and also an additional 10 months on the executive team of DHS. Therefore, when she was assigned to family court, where she had vast experience with substantive and procedural laws governing dependency and termination of parental rights, she already had a jump start on the knowledge and the procedural basis. The effect that the misconduct has upon the integrity and respect for the judiciary. As you heard from the board's witnesses today, Judge Young's misconduct destroyed the trust of litigants and families in the courts, especially in the Philadelphia Family Court. Families were splintered as the litigants were simultaneously robbed of their dignity in the courtroom. The cumulative effect of all of Judge Young's misconduct undermined public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary in violation of Rule 1.2, prejudiced the proper administration of justice, and brought disrepute upon the entire judiciary in violation of Article 5, Section 18D1 of the Pennsylvania Constitution. Removal is the harshest sanction available. However, exacting measures are needed to fulfill the goals of the judicial disciplinary sanction process. In this case, Judge Young presided over cases concerning some of the most vulnerable people in Philadelphia. The families who appeared before her in family court involved parents who were often struggling to raise their children while dealing with other overwhelming problems. The judicial system owes each one of those individuals the right to have their appellate cases decided in an expedited manner under the Children's Fast Track system, the right to be treated with dignity, courtesy, and respect, the right to a fair and impartial proceeding, the due process right to be heard, and the opportunity to appear in court without the risk of being unlawfully detained or incarcerated. The sanction imposed by this court will send a clear message to Judge Young, to other judges, and to the public that this court cannot and will not tolerate the egregious misconduct at issue in this case. Recognizing that the determination of the appropriate sanction for Judge Young is within the sound discretion of this court, yet based on the multiple violations, the egregiousness, and the frequency of the misconduct, the board respectfully requests that this court impose the sanction of removal and bar Judge Young from seeking judicial office in the future. Thank you.
Okay, now it's stressing me out because Gibbs is supposed to respond now, and Gibbs is clearly not there. So is this guy going to respond for Gibbs?
Thank you, Ms. Flaherty. Mr. McMonigal.
Your Honors, good afternoon. Members of the board, folks who have taken time from their lives to be part of this today, and Judge Young. I never thought that I would be in the position of having to fight for a good person's career and future on a Zoom call, but this is the world we live in. It has been a tough time over the past year for a lot of folks. Some of us, some of you have been victimized by pain and sorrow and agony. And all of us, though, regardless, had bore witness to it. And for me, and I don't know if it's the same for all of you, and I could guess it is, that it's been a time of reflection. For me, it's been a time to look in the mirror and self-evaluate, and take a long look at myself and some of the choices I've made along the way, and maybe a way to reinvent myself as a person, as a lawyer, as a father. And one thing I have learned during this time period, and I suspect you have as well, I'm never going to take anything for granted again. Life can really get in your way, and tomorrow is absolutely not promised to any of us. You good folks are tasked with the awesome responsibility of deciding the future of a good person, of a good lawyer, a good judge for much of the time, a wonderful mother and a devoted friend. And that's an awesome responsibility. And I can tell you that over this past year, no one, and I mean no one, has learned the lesson of not taking life for granted and realizing that your tomorrows are not promised to you like Judge Young. When she graduated from Emory and then the University of Georgia, she pretty much could have wrote her ticket. She could have enjoyed a life of wealth and privilege, like many have. Instead, she wanted to come home and give back. And her heart was always here in Philadelphia. And her heart has always been with children. So it was no surprise when she, at the city solicitor's office, was given that temporary assignment to be with Children's Services. It was supposed to be, I think, for a few months, and I know Judge Young would probably tell me the exact amount of time. But it turned into a 10-year assignment, 10 years in which she became a shield for children, 10 years in which she dedicated her days and nights to protecting the most vulnerable among us, the ignored, the abused, the forgotten, children that were never raised and would never be raised. And she was their shield, and she saw things then that you cannot unsee. And I don't like to digress, and I know it's a Friday, but I want to digress for a minute with your permission. I came home the other night, and it's been a rule since the pandemic that I don't watch the news, and everybody in my house knows it. And it was on. And before I could get to the TV and turn it off, I saw a familiar face. The former police commissioner of Philadelphia was on. He was being asked questions by Anderson Cooper about a 13-year-old who had drawn a gun and lost his life, a police officer. And I stayed with it for a second. I didn't turn off the TV because our former police commissioner, Commissioner Ramsey, was being asked to call the ball on the shooting. And he stopped for a second and he says, how come we never ask the hard questions? How come we're not asking the hard question of why a 13-year-old at 2 o'clock in the morning is walking the streets with a gun? Judge Young thought she was ready for what she would see. And, I was struck by something the other Judge Young said when he was speaking to you here today about he would have liked if she could have gotten to go become a judge first and learn how to be a judge first before she was sent into harm's way, to now go from being that shield to being that impartial, fair arbitrator in these most important decisions in a child's life. And I'm struck by the fact that she must have thought she was prepared for it. And you can never, ever be prepared for what she would see. Day after day, hour after hour, heartbreak after heartbreak, her trying to prevent the 13-year-old for roaming the streets with a gun. Her trying to deal with the fact that people are indifferent to the people they bring into the world. I was struck today by one of the witnesses. A baby is thrown into her courtroom with broken ribs, fractured ribs. I'm not sure what happened. Might have been the dog, might have been the other child. And yet she's supposed to be Solomon. And yet we make no excuses. Day after day. Give that a shot. I know some of you, and I don't know all the respected members of this bench, have had to endure such pain and see such things that we're just not built to see. But I tell you what, and I tell you like I'm telling you my own name, this is hard stuff. And everybody in her room right now, and I know you got a chance to look at the room, we're not a very big firm. And I know that during the proceedings, you probably saw me walking around because we're trying to go from office to office here. We're not real big. But in the conference room, our small conference room in which Judge Young sits, are a group of people who care deeply about her, who know the truth. And the truth is she fell down. And there's no excuse that she offers you for falling down. We know that what happened to her in that time period that Ms. Flaherty has described was that life got in the way, as it sometimes does. She got a diagnosis, and the diagnosis wasn't just, we kick around the term hysterectomy, and Judge Clemens this morning, who was in that conference room with her this morning, pulled me aside and said, Brian, this wasn't just some hysterectomy. They took her from one side of her body to another. And we didn't, and it would have been, I think, impolite or maybe even worse to show you some of the photos we had of what happened to her during that surgery. But her doctor said to her, don't go back. We're going to take out your womb. We're going to take out a lot of your organs. And you're not going to feel good for a long time physically. And a light's going to go out mentally. And I remember that's how it was for my mother when it happened to her. And you think you're strong, you think you're strong enough to deal with it and endure it. But sometimes you tell yourself lies. Sometimes you think you're stronger than you are and you're braver than you are. And the doctor said, don't go back too soon. She did. And if that wasn't bad enough, if life didn't throw enough in her way that year with her 40 case list of one heartache after another, she has to come to the recognition that a 20-year marriage is over. Over. 2 decades, while your daughter is getting ready to go to college. And I'm sure some of you folks have endured it and had friends who've endured it. And I've endured it with my parents. And it's horrific. She did not, when Charles and I, and it's Mr. Gibbs, I'm sorry if I get too personal here, when Charles and I were getting ready for this proceeding, she did not want us to mention her illness or her separation. Her words to me were, other judges get sick too. Her words to me were, I don't want to bring up the heartache in my family in front of my daughter. It's her father. And that told me everything I ever needed to know about Lyris Young. Of course, I had the final say, and I wanted you to know the truth about how she fell down and why she fell down. Because as you can see from all that you've received, her conduct during this time period was inconsistent with the rest of her life and career. There's been a couple references to how she failed, and Ms. Flaherty spent a lot of time talking about how she failed, and I'm not taking issue with any of it. We probably could spend days talking about all the kids she saved, all the broken bones she dealt with, all the scarred children she had to deal with. And Ms. Flaherty's job is not to do my job. And I know Ms. Flaherty hasn't forgotten about all the cases of the kids that she saved day after day, hour after hour, while lawyers like me are just out to lunch sometimes and taking it easy. That was her life at a time in her life when it was sometimes impossible to get through the day, sleeping on your side for a year. But I know that you're going to be in a little while making some decisions about her, and Ms. Flaherty cited a bunch of factors you need to consider. I'm one of those people that believe that you don't judge people by whether they fall down, but whether they get back up. And there's been a lot of time that we've spoken about, in this case, you good folks have spent time reviewing how she fell down. I want to talk to you about how she has gotten back up. In part because she's strong. In part because she had the courage to get back up. In part because she's motivated by a great love that you saw here today in Kendall. She healed her body. She healed her mind. And she reinvented herself. I know some of the judges here have asked about her time over in civil. Thankfully, Judge Skipper was willing to give her the chance of being sent over there to learn again, as Judge Young had put it, to be a judge. To be a judge. And I'll tell you what, I know I've never had that privilege, and I know that I'll never get it. But I know I'd never be worthy of it, because I don't think I'm capable of walking into dependency court and being impartial. I know that about myself. I knew it about myself as a prosecutor when they wanted to hand me child abuse cases. Couldn't do it. Did murder cases like it was nobody's business, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't hold my composure. I couldn't hold how I felt about those cases. And so I not only want you to think about how she's reinvented herself, but I want you to think about the mentoring that's gone on, because I know a couple of the judges here have asked about it. And her mentors are behind her. You couldn't really see them real well. But that wasn't just some collection of folks that we found out on Walnut Street. The folks that behind her were and are her mentors. They are some of the most respected members of the First Judicial District. And that means something to me when you use that expression, First Judicial District, because it means a lot. It says a lot. We've talked a lot about the reputation of our court. And behind her in that room, Judges Clemens, Covington, Perez, Scott, Simmons. Charles and I refer to them as her posse, her friends that have helped her up and helped her heal and mentored her. Some of the most respected judges on our bench have taken the opportunity to give her a second chance through mentoring. And isn't that what we want? We want to be about second chances. We want to be about giving people the best of us. And we want to recognize that sometimes good people fall down. Good people sometimes fall down. And I don't know about you folks. Maybe none of you ever have. I have. And it always took somebody to take a chance on me. And I think about that a lot. And you get older, you start to wax nostalgic about a lot of things. And that's what I'm asking you to do today. You heard from Kendall, and I really believe, and I mean this like I mean nothing else, you really want to figure out who you are. And I look at every one of you. You want to figure out who you are. Look into the eyes of your children and see what their reflection's like. And I don't mean when they're little. You know, when they're little, when you look into their eyes, that's your dad, it's your mom. They only see your strengths. But when you get older and they've lived with you for a little while and they grew a little more mature and a little smarter, they see your flaws. They see your missteps. They see your mistakes. They see when you have fallen down, and then look in their eyes. You looked into Kendall's eyes today. I know you were on a screen. I wasn't. I've seen her today. She's here. And I see the reflection in those eyes. And that's a good person in those eyes. That's a great mother in those eyes. That's a mother who put aside everything so she could have a second chance. A kid who wasn't going to go to college, because of the breakup of a family and because of the illness of her mom, she made sure of it. And so I ask you to do that today. Put Kendall in your heart. Put the good witnesses that have testified in this case, Dr. Dash, Clarence Tilman, good people, Judge Young. I know Judge McCafferty referred to it, but you'd have a hard time finding a more respected judge anywhere than Judge Young. And I know he's family, but with the exception of quoting Barry Goldwater, which he did, I listened for really what was in his heart. And I think you probably did too. He didn't make excuses, did he? He tried to provide you of a big picture, not just a snapshot of who this human being is, whose life has been placed in your hands. And I'm going to wrap up. I promised everybody, Charles and everybody else, I wasn't going to be long. I ask you to think about this. This is a sanctions hearing, and I must confess, as I look up there and I see some familiar faces and some I've never had the honor of speaking with or appearing before. I've never done one of these before, and they call it a sanctions hearing to be just. And I know you'll be just because you have to consider the judiciary. You have to consider the First Judicial District's reputation. You have to consider all these things. But in your effort to be just, be gentle. Think about a second chance for somebody who has fallen down and gotten back up. And I'll leave you with this, and I hope I haven't taken too much time. I'd ask you to be, when you deliberate, the kind of judges that Lyris Young set out to be, and be the kind of judges that I know she will be if given the chance again. I thank you for your patience, and I thank you for your time.
And Mr. McMonigal, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
We heard the recommendation of the Judicial Conduct Board in this case. I haven't heard you make a recommendation. What would your recommendation be for us?
You know, Your Honor, I gave a lot of thought to that. And one of the things that I fought with as I looked in the mirror over these many months about myself is to never pretend to be arrogant. And I think that would be arrogance for me to sit in your shoes and come up with that decision. But I can tell you this, there's not a chance in this world that the right thing, the decent thing to do here would be to remove her from the bench. And you've got a lot of options beyond that. And you know what they are, Your Honor. You've been doing this in many capacities for a lot longer than I have. Find one. I ask you all to find one that gives her the chance to turn around and say thank you to her mentors, gives her a chance to look back into her daughter's eyes and say, you know what? I'm a judge again. I'm the judge I was supposed to be because some good people took a chance on me. And you're those good people. And Judge Schwartzman, I hope you don't mind that or think that I was ducking your question. I just think it would be arrogant of me to make that recommendation. You've lived with this case. You've been doing this a heck of a lot longer and better than I have. But I can tell you this, and I'll tell you this not only as a lawyer, but based on the people that I see in my room, save this judge.
Thank you. Ms. Flaherty, you had asked for 2 minutes or 3 minutes in rebuttal.
Oh, can you put my on? No, thank you. I don't need the rebuttal. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Do any members of the court have any questions for either Ms. Flaherty or Mr. McMonigal?
I do not.
Hearing none, then I will call this sanctions hearing concluded. Thank you all. Thank you, Ms. Flaherty. Thank you, Mr. McMonigal. Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. It was a very professional presentation. So you have my heartfelt thanks for the way that you presented this case.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Six months. She was, I lost the word. She was suspended for 6 months. Getting old sucks. And then they removed her from family court. She is no longer in family court. She's in civil court. She's still in civil court in Philadelphia. She is up for re-election again in 2026, just like everybody else. I think 2026. And I haven't seen any more issues. I haven't seen any newspaper articles. I haven't seen anything about people having an issue with her. And I still think, I think she should have gotten 6 months for putting those people in jail. I just do. But I just think that I want to see her. She's the judge I want to see every day. But that's fine. We don't get to see Pennsylvania, but we will soon, because I just sent the governor a text saying I want all live streams. I want all courts live streamed. So he probably hasn't answered me yet because he didn't wake up yet. So Pennsylvania doesn't stream, Josh. But I sent the governor a text. So maybe he's still in bed. Maybe he's sleeping. But when he wakes up, I'll just, I'll expect him to talk to me. Right? Alright, I'm going to start OJ now. I can't wait. Guys, we made it to May 23rd, which is a big deal because it's a new person. So I'm going to put her on. It would be nice if Miss Lewis would question her because they both look identical to me. I will see you all again later. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Well, I thought I'd write a happy song. I found a chat room where I belong. You don't know how much it means to me. With such a groove, I'm less lonely. Oh, Kathy's the creator. She's leading the way. At Court Vibes, we laugh and we stay. Her smile shines bright. She's got that grace. Come join the fun. It's a welcome and play. I can count on distraction from my pain, 'cause this creator takes you there and back again. Kathy is the heart here, always in stride. Her work is hard, but her joy she can't hide. Oh, Kathy's the creator, she's leading the way. At Court Vibes, we laugh and we stay. Her style is classy, she's always top shelf. Don't take my word, come and see for yourself. Her cases are new with a twist or two. I really like them. see